experience at Regis, maybe some advice they have for those of you who are planning on coming next year. Just also to keep you informed, we will be recording this session just to, if there's any way we can share it to those students who cannot join us today. We would love to record it just to let everybody know we will be recording, just so we can share with students who can make it. And then the last announcement I have is if you do have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to privately message them directly to Fred, and he will be able to ask our student panelists. So that being said, that is enough out of me, I'm sure. You came here to hear more from the students. So certainly, if both of you could introduce yourself, where you're coming from, what you're majoring in the School of Business and Communication, and then we can kind of go from there.
Hey, well, who wants to go first? I'm going first.
Go for it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Cool. So, hi guys, my name is Steven Reyes. I'm majoring in communications, and I'm coming from LA, California right now. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so my name is Trayvon Wright. I major in global business management, and I'm from Springfield, Mass.
Great.
Nice.
And of course, you guys have had a lot of experiences. But if you want to start off first by maybe Steven, you starting and telling us a little bit about how you chose to major in communication.
So coming in at first, I was a biology major with communications minor. Throughout the first 2 years, I realized that biology was not for me, and I was more loving into the communications minor. So then I did the whole switcheroo. Went for a little bit of biology minor, but stayed with communications major. And ever since that change, I've felt so much better being at Regis. I don't know, it just took like a whole big heavy weight off my chest, because at first I was following what I thought my parents wanted for me, but then I realized I wanted this for myself, so the communications was the way for me. And ever since then, I just loved every single class I've had in my communications experience.
Nice.
And Trayvon, how did you end up with global business management?
Well, I've always had a sense to own my own business. I always liked business. I've been around in my family for a long time. So it's just something that I wanted to expand my knowledge on, to learn more and have a better feeling for it. Like Steven said, biology, chemistry, all those kind of majors or sciences weren't really my thing. I just gravitated more towards business, and it's been great ever since.
Nice. And I did want to comment real quick, with you, Steven, coming from the opposite side of the country, and you, Trayvon, coming from pretty much the opposite side of the state, what made you choose Regis? And Trayvon, we could start with you if you like. And then...
Yeah. Well, the financial aid package was good. I think that was a major benefit, but also it's not too far from home, but not too close either. It's a little bit less than 2 hours away from Springfield, so it worked out well. So I was able to assist my parents and family.
Okay. And then for you, Steven?
For me, my dream was just going out of state since the beginning. And then once I found Regis and I got their financial aid package, it was like the best one out of state. And that's one of the main reasons why I went to Regis. The other main reason was orientation day. That was my first time visiting the campus, legit. And I fell in love with the school automatically. Coming from being a city boy and like everything so close to me, everything easy to grab, it was a whole different experience to me. And I just fell in love with it. And yeah, another reason was that it was just a small school where everybody knew each other, everybody was friendly. A person that really, really impacted my life was Dan Leahy. That was his first time being there too, his first year as director of Center Ministry and Service. So that's the staff, like in general, like the staff were really amazing, great with me. And yeah, they welcome me like open arms and stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice.
And I know both of you are definitely very involved on campus, including obviously with our office, working as tour guides. But can you talk a little bit about what you're involved in on campus and, how you have worked through that time management with your involvement in school and work? And Stephen, if you want to start with that one.
Yeah. So me personally, I did have trouble with time management, time management skills. So I actually went for help, a little bit help with our academic coaches. So they really helped me out, especially my academic coach. I would visit my academic coach every week, every like Monday in the beginning of the week, set up my weekly schedule. So that's a really good benefit that that Regis offers. But with that being said, I had to work with I had to do my work study down in the Fine Arts Center, but that's pretty much mostly in the afternoons. But still, like homework assignments really do jam up like throughout time. And then I also was like at one point I was mostly focused with dance company. I was in dance company for a while, and that really did take a lot of time because there's different times where you got to go practice and the team like really expects you to practice. So you really got to like figure out a way, like everybody does have their own sketch, like their own skill, like their own way to time manage themselves. Me personally was a visual calendar, and yeah.
And what about you, Trayvon? What are you involved in and how do you balance that all? Oh.
Only helping with like academic wise, but he sort of helped me like about life and how I should balance life between school, work, and personal life. I think that helped out a lot because without that, there would be no way I could keep my grades up, be involved, and still be able to get that outside experience from the internship as well. So I think it's very important to have somebody to talk to that knows their ropes, but also try to make friends and surround yourself with people that have that experience through college and things like that. And it helps out a lot in the long run.
Nice. And so the next question is more of a transitioning question, like coming from where you each respectively came from to being welcomed onto campus. You mentioned like academic coaching was the one thing that really helped you feel a little bit better with your time on campus. Was there other individuals who made you feel comfortable? Was there other resources that made you feel comfortable that welcomed you into those leadership roles, for example?
I would say Dan Leahy from Campus Ministry was a big one. I remember meeting you, Fred, when I first started college as well. Isaiah Wilson as well too. So I think this meeting people that were just open, knew the ropes, understand the ropes. Some were athletes, some were just regular students. But a lot of people just approached me, came to me, and talked to me. So it wasn't really like it was as if I was already family. There wasn't as if I was a stranger, you know.
Yeah.
So it kind of helped out a lot in that way. That's what we just is because it's a close knit community. So you can just walk in and like you're automatically accepted there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
For you, Steven?
Yeah. Of course. Another example is you, Fred. You were like a really big part. Like you're Mr. President. Bro. But yeah, no, you really did help a lot of students out. That's for sure. Not just me, but other people that also helped out were like James Garanga. He was a big help, especially for as an orientation leader. Well, yeah, as a director for the orientation team, I was a really big and he really helped a lot. And just like staff everywhere, from student engagement to residence life to admissions. Like, didn't matter how big or how small they help, but the help is the help. They're there for you. So yeah, yeah, everybody and like everybody really did help in a little way to help. Yeah.
Great. And I know a big part of this this program is the internship component. So could either of you speak to your internship experience as, you know, students in this School of Business and Communication, like all of our students across campus, you're going to end up doing an internship. I know you guys have had some experiences. So you could just talk us through what that experience was and maybe how it impacted your time at Regis.
So I intern right now at the Boston Public Health Commission. It's been very good. I think Susan Kennedy, she does career development internships. She helped out a lot with when it comes to resumes and cover letters. She can also help you find one as well. But it's very, very beneficial. And what I liked about it the most, it worked with my time. You know, so I would go there when I didn't have class. You know, it was something that was forced or they demanded of me all the time. They're very respectful when it came to school, and they always put academics first. And they always understood if something I came up with school, and you know I couldn't work the whole my entire shift, or I couldn't make it that day. They were very understandable about it, and the experience was good as well too. And what I like about Regis also, you can also get a paid one. Doesn't necessarily have to be unpaid.
Oh yeah. For me, my internship experience. Well, I was again Susan Kennedy, director of career and placement. She really did help out a lot too as well. At first, my first internship that I was gonna apply to didn't really reply to me on time, and then so she really went out out and went out and looked for an internship at Regis themselves. So I got an internship at the Fine Arts Center, basically my work study. It just replaced my work study as well, and that's something I really wanted to do. So I'm not really disappointed of where I actually landed my internship because being like every time I do my work study, I'm always like, it's not a job. This is not a job for me. This is like something I want to do later in life. Especially like art administration and stuff like that. Even that's something I figured out I actually want to learn to continue throughout my internship. One time I was just like researching art administration, and yeah, it was just a project for my internship, and I fell in love with I was reading, and that's something that I'm looking forward to like pursuing as a career now. So yeah, like my internship, it's been good.
Nice, thank you. We do have one question, and it's when can you participate in the internship program?
Anytime.
Yeah.
I just waited a little bit later, but you can do it anytime, and you still get credit to graduate. What I've been told and what I've seen.
Nice.
Yeah. I would say if you're really not sure of what you're trying to like of your career of whatever you're trying your dreams or your goals, try it out. You could do more than one internship. It's not a mandatory thing to do more than one internship, but it's an optional thing. A lot of people have done more than one, and they realized that they didn't like to work with certain people, certain jobs, certain positions that they thought they were going to be a good fit, and once they did the internship, they realized that they didn't. So yeah, you could do your internship at any moment in time within your 4 years.
Nice.
And if you both could look back on your time when you first started at Regis, if you could say something to freshman Trayvon or freshman Steven, what would you look back and say to that person that walked onto campus the first time and into Angela Hall, into the residence halls? What would you say?
I would definitely tell him to try to be involved early on, because I didn't start getting involved really until like the end of my sophomore, early junior year. So I tell him definitely try to be involved more, meet more people, and even start doing internships earlier so you can get the most experience as you can.
Yeah. I would also opposite. I was really trying to get more involved into the school that I kind of overdid it at one point. So I had to really step back and cool down from being involved too much and focus more on my academics. Uh, so yeah, that's something I would tell my previous selves. Don't stress, don't overwork yourself, and focus first on your academics. Academics always come first before anything else. But yeah.
Nice, thank you. There is one more question. It was, what was your most favorite experience in college?
I would say go on a service trip for campus ministry. I went to the LA, Los Angeles, and U.S. Mexico border. I never been on that side of the country,
Hmm.
and it was a very good, eye-opening experience. So I definitely encourage students to take part in them as much as they can. I think that was the best part.
Nice. And for you, Stephen?
For me, I would say being an orientation leader. My first summer being there at Regis, just like being out of state and yeah, everybody welcoming you, and you're like already within 1 year you could be best friends with like persons you never would have expected to be friends with. Um, so that's something that's a really good experience. But my orientation team was a really good experience to me. And I just had a blast that first year, that summer, and I felt like I at that moment I wish that continued like throughout my whole career, but my college career. But of course it doesn't. But everybody graduates. um, but yeah, that's actually one of my favorite experience, orientation.
Nice, nice, thank you.
Great. I actually have a question for Fred, knowing that, to put you on the spot there, Fred.
No worries.
Fred, knowing that you are a double alum of this school, both at the undergrad and now at the graduate level, what can you say that you've taken away from your experience in the School of Business and Communication that has helped you in your job? You know, you're kind of you are a living proof that this school leads to a great career, a great start to your career. So if you want to talk a little bit about how your experience has led to the start of your career.
Yeah. So definitely it would be stepping outside of your comfort zone, which is going to be it's going to be the hardest thing you can do, but it's also the most rewarding thing you can do. Because once you step outside your comfort zone, obviously you'll be confronted with challenges that sometimes you'll fail, but sometimes I wouldn't consider even a failure, but you'll learn from each of those experiences, good or bad, and it teaches you a lot about yourself. And that's what happened when I was, challenged myself to take on additional classes, take on outlet classes that weren't just a part of my essential curriculum, because Regis is a liberal arts school, so I was able to take courses around surrounding like topics that I found enjoyable, and that's what really made me crave more education, crave more of that desire to go out and push myself a little bit harder. And once again, like how Trayvon and Stephen had mentioned, the people, there's so many people that are there to motivate you, that push you to keep on going, that never wants you to fall, and they always lift you up in some way. So that's what I'd give the answer to.
Great. Thanks for letting me put you on the spot there.
Yeah, since we're doing that, I'm just kidding. I do know that you were alumni of the Masters of Communication program, and you were coming from Stonehill College from your undergraduate experience to now as your professional how was that experience for you? What was the transition like from those two completely different schools?
Yeah, I think when I did the Masters of Communication a few years ago, it was a little bit different setup than it is now. Um, I did do an internship, and I know that is part of the curriculum now. But when I did it, there was more of a research component. And I thought that was very unique because my undergraduate experience, I did a lot of presentations, a lot of, PowerPoints, but never did necessarily like a big research experience. So being able to, like you said, Fred, step out of my comfort zone and kind of do something a little bit different, and do a long-standing research project really prepared me, I felt, for continuing to go on for further degrees and to really reflect on some of my how I looked at things, how I prepared. Wasn't a lot of the stuff that I did for my research was very fact-based and required a lot of data and things like that. And that's something that previously, like, I knew how to look up something, but not necessarily, I knew how to look something up and interpret it, but not necessarily how to collect the data and then interpret it. So having that experience, that research experience, was really what set me apart. And then I also did an internship with the Muscular Dystrophy Association, which is totally outside of my comfort zone. And it was really an awesome experience, kind of that along the same lines of Trayvon's, like communication, but also like healthcare was involved in it. So it was definitely an interesting experience. But yeah, thanks for asking me that. Are there any other questions, Fred? Are you getting any other questions from the audience there?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing I'll just plug as Fred looks through the questions.
One more question. My apologies.
Great. Yeah.
It was what was your favorite class for each of you? Like, what was your favorite class in business and what was your favorite class in communication? So
I would say organization. Oh, my bad.
No, you go.
Yeah,
I would probably say organizational behavior. I took it in my sophomore year. I liked it because it really talked about businesses, not only business alone, but a workplace in general, and how people react, people behave, or sometimes people are treated. And it really went into detail about that. And there was some things that we talked about in class I never knew about and never realized until I had that class. Because I worked before college and things like that, but I never paid attention or took note of certain things within an organization. So I think that helped me out a lot and knowing how to talk to people better and just treat people better in general when it comes to being in a workplace.
For me, it's that's a tough one because I like a lot of my classes. But one, if I were to pick one, I would say I'd probably say my media in the 21st century for my communications class. Yeah. That one's done by Professor Dr. Cole. And we just learned about like media today, actually. It's like Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, like what happens when we use those platforms, and then also like not just those, but like also like films, like how they're like interpreted, and then in like today's society, and how like yeah, and like studying like film, like you could tie up to like a basic show that you watch on Netflix to something like criminal justice to political platforms, basically anything they could think of. But the way that my professor did it was in a way that he there's a line that she told us herself. She's like, if you guys enjoy watching movies, once you guys finish with this class, you guys will never watch movies the same way. And that is true. That is true. That's something that really did happen. I can't watch sometimes I can't watch simple documentaries about really a lie about the ocean, about prison life, or anything like that, because they'll always just bring it back to something happening today in the world.
Great. And she's a tough professor, so it's funny that you like that class there. I had some tough classes with her. Any other questions there, Fred?
Oh, can you hear me? It was just the name of the class again that you were talking about, Stephen. It was multimedia in 21st century.
Oh yeah, no, it's media in the 21st century.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a second class that she actually focused more on social media, but the media one did pretty much everything, to music, to the social media platforms. But the second class is social media in the 21st century, I believe, and it just focuses more on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and how it's used today.
Nice, thank you.
Great. Mm-hmm. I just want to, before we wrap up too, I just want to plug that there are some more sessions that are going on today, specifically for the School of Business and Communication. There is a session tonight with Dean Bill Kaler. So that is something to be on the lookout for if you're not already registered for it. This afternoon, there will be a general session about academic advising and what that means. And both Stephen and Trayvon talked a little bit about their academic coaches, and that session will be at 2:00 this afternoon to talk about some of those experiences. So definitely be on the lookout for that as well. That being said, is there any, Fred, do we have any last questions from any students?
No more questions from what it seems like.
Okay, great. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to come to this session, and of course to thank Stephen and Trayvon for coming as well. We really appreciate your help. Of course, we miss you guys as seniors who are going to graduate. I feel like I didn't even get to say a proper, goodbye for you guys. And of course, extra thanks to Stephen for waking up when it's a 3-hour time difference there in California. And thank you also to Fred, who managed our questions there. If you do have any questions, you can see Fred's contact information on the screen there. You can always reach out to Fred or myself, and we can answer any of those questions. But we appreciate everybody taking the time to come today.
All right. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Bye.